Coming up on the Middle Class VO podcast.
It's like so much marketing. It's just making connections and keeping promises, being good at what you're doing, turn it around fast, and be available.
If you need e-learning, we're just an email away. Corporate narration, tell us what to say. Explainer video, imaging radio, slinging local cars, reading IVR. No, we ain't no stars. This is the Middle Class VO podcast. The Middle Class VO podcast. The Middle Class VO podcast.
Welcome to I guess it's going to be the final Middle Class VO podcast of 2021, Bobby. The end of the year is here.
I thought you were just going to say the final. I was like, Kev, are you making an announcement?
No.
Speaking of announcements, can we just start this off with a bang?
Okay. Bang.
Because our own Kevin Kilpatrick was a winner this past weekend in the SOVAS Awards again.
Oh, wow, thank you. I had no idea. Oh, thank you. I just didn't know. This is such a shock and surprise to me, Bobby. We set up this recording, just on a whim. I don't even know what we're recording about. But, thank you for bringing that up. I had no intention of admitting it myself.
Well,
so.
I wanted to be the one to although you did get lots of texts, which your birthday was also this past weekend. So you're just a little, man of the hour.
Yeah, a lot going on. And I'm truly grateful, and I beat out. I don't know how it works, the judges behind the scenes. It's like, let's pull from a hat. And then maybe my name popped up. I don't know. But
what was your category? PSA for radio?
Yeah, outstanding PSA for radio, best voiceover. So it was the spot was Parents Empowered Underage Drinking Prevention, and the spot was called Basketball. So I play the role of a dad in a commercial that is, the spin on it is, it's a 90s sitcom. So the spot is, it's supposed to sound like a 90s cheesy 90s sitcom, and I play the cheesy 90s sitcom dad.
Can we hear it?
And it just so happens that we've got a copy of it right here.
And now back to Parents, the number one reason kids don't drink.
All right, ready for a little one-on-one?
Yeah, Dad, but I don't think I need to wear a helmet during basketball.
You're right, sweetie. I'm just always looking out for the safety of your brain. You know what the key to a healthy brain, is, right?
No underage drinking. Don't worry, Dad. I know where we stand. No drinking for me. But I hope dunking is allowed.
Whoa! Is this hoop regulation? You made your point, but I'm glad I made mine too.
You're losing, Dad.
But I'm number one when it comes to keeping your brain alcohol-free. I slam dunk parenting. We pivot away from the dangers of underage drinking.
Are we still playing basketball?
Of course, sweetie.
All right, Dad. Just work on your dribble.
Tune in anytime at parentsempowered.org to learn why parents are the number one reason kids don't drink.
And there you go.
You did not play that for me. That's excellent. Excellent. Congratulations. Who was your co-star there?
I can't remember her name, but she's fantastic.
She's really good, yeah.
Yeah, she's really good. The director actually hired me again. They renewed the campaign for coming up for 2022, and he hired me basically to play the same role, but just in a different series of spots. And he said the girl was not available this go-around because she was so busy doing other stuff. She picked up some sort of on-camera Netflix series. So
wow.
I just think that's fantastic. So, shout out to Ryan Isant for directing me on that, and just really pleased as punch to have that. And, it's for a good cause, too. Good message out there. And, just honored and humbled.
I love it. Congratulations again. And you couldn't make it to New York for the SOVAS Awards because it was your birthday weekend and you had other plans. Plus, it was right before Christmas.
Yeah. We hosted a Christmas party for Deborah, her coworkers here at the house, and then she had planned on us to go see a show for my birthday. So, yeah, we had a lot going on. Not able to make it to SOVAS this year, but I'm hoping to next year, and I'm hoping that we go and we're able to just crush some categories next year, Bobby.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I wonder if it goes back to LA. Do they switch every other year?
I think that's what the scoop is that they do switch it every year. I would love to have gone to New York this year, though.
Oh, I know. Especially the Guggenheim. Hello.
Exactly. And it's kind of like we were talking about this earlier, it's kind of like an award season, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is kind of like the very beginning of the next few months. I mean, you have everything in there. You have, the Screen Actor Award, the Screen Actor Guild Awards. You have the, what's the other? The People's Choice, and obviously the Emmys and the Grammys and the Oscars. And I know I've missed a bunch of them in there. And that's just TV and film, right?
Yeah, and then there's the voiceover ones that you were telling me about. I didn't have any. I didn't know about the Reed Awards. Is that what they call them for political?
Yeah, the Reed Awards, and I just found out about them last year. I didn't submit last year because I missed the deadline. But yeah, they have a whole big conference and the award show. And this past year, they had it. Even with COVID going on, they had it at the Washington, it's the Nationals, their stadium.
Oh, wow.
They had the conference and everything was there. And that happens usually in the springtime. I think it was right before baseball season started, or maybe it was right afterwards. Yeah. But it's going to be in Nashville this next year for 2022.
That's awesome. And you're going to be there, right?
I am planning on being there. I did submit something.
Ooh.
Yeah, they just into the early bird submission last Friday. And I did put a guy he's a consultant who I work with pretty regularly, a spot we did together. I submitted that. So we'll see, keeping fingers crossed. But I think you can get those in if you do political work through February sometime. So you better act pretty quick on getting your entry in there. And then the Reed Awards are going to be the first week of May. I think it's like the 4th and 5th in Nashville.
Okay.
So, yeah. And you mentioned the One Voice Awards. Those happen every year as well.
Yeah, and those happened over the summertime, though, right?
Right.
Like August or so?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. And I'd like to go to those some year, maybe in 2022. 2021 was just a little, I don't know, it was the 2020 hangover, I think, and it was just a little bit wonky in 2021. So I'm hoping everything gets closer to normal in 2022 because I'm looking forward to getting out and seeing people. And, Bobby, speaking of getting out and seeing people, I think this is an appropriate time for a tease.
Yes. Go ahead. Yeah. I'll let you do the honors.
Okay. So, Middle Class VO podcast listeners, we have an exciting announcement coming up. We can't talk about it right yet, but you will have an opportunity to come hang out with Bobby and I in person in the coming months. I'll just put it that way. And we could not be more honored and excited to be part of the event that we're talking about, but we can't talk about. We're honored to talk about the event.
Zip it
We're
up.
excited to talk about the event that we can't talk about just yet.
I know.
So no, it's a first time for us, and we are excited and humbled and proud, and we can't wait till it happens and until we get to see a bunch of our listeners, those that are listening, how special they are to us, because we get feedback a fair amount of the time. And it's just so nice. And the other night, I was at Tennessee Voiceover Studios here in Nashville with Christy Bowen and having a Christmas party. And, a gal was just sitting there. She was quoting the podcast. She was just ripping off quotes from the podcast and referencing all these different things. And I mean, multiple episodes, not just like one episode. But, yeah, I remember when you had Dave Walsh on, you had, all this and all that. And, I remember when you said this. And it was so exciting because she actually said that we had Mary Lynn Wisner on as a guest. And Mary Lynn had said something, had dropped a nugget of knowledge on us. And she said, I had an audition later on. I went and used what Mary Lynn had talked about in the audition, and she booked a national spot from it.
A national spot.
Doesn't that just make you glow with pride, Bobby?
That
knowing
does. Yes.
We are.
Yes.
Because the reason we started doing this, we started doing the podcast a few years ago By the way, Bobby, we're coming up on our 3rd year.
I know.
We started doing this because A, we're both radio people and we felt like we needed an outlet. And B, we love talking about our industry and we love that somebody can gain knowledge from just our rambling on, So
it's us because we've gone through it. So we're, like you said, we're sharing what we've experienced. But when we bring in our guests and they can give their knowledge and information that could help, people who are just coming into the business or kind of like where we are. I mean, that's priceless.
Yeah.
Love it.
Skip-it-a-ba-ba-ba.
And we've got some good guests coming up in 2022. I know for sure our next episode is going to feature a guy, and we are going to talk about, in the next episode of the podcast, we're going to talk about something that is a taboo word in voiceover, and that's the announcer read. And we've got just a great episode all about the announcer read and the evolution of the announcer coming up on the next podcast. So make sure, and that will be out in early 2022. So make sure you listen for that. And then we'll have a kind of a best moments of 2021 podcast coming up soon too as well, Bobby.
And I've already talked to him about it. Dave Walsh at the MAVO conference, the very first day, he did recordings each morning to kind of kickstart the conference for that day. The very first morning, he mentioned us as some of the best podcasts out there. And I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I actually went to the virtual MAVO for the first time, the MAVO conference this year. And I was sitting there going, what? That's Kevin and I.
That's us.
So
he's talking about us.
I know. So immediately emailed Dave, and we're going to have him on again real soon. And the men's just, brilliant, amazing coach.
Yeah, Dave is, he's one of the all-timers. And, there's certain levels, of coaching. And I sometimes get asked for references on coaches and stuff like that. And I've got kind of in my head, like, tiers. One reason I have these tiers, these levels, is because some of the coaches that I've talked to are like, I don't work with beginners. And so, but I do know coaches that do work with beginners. So I'm able to refer people. And now I've gotten into coaching myself. And you can book me if you want to through Tennessee Voiceover Studios with Christy Bowen. So
I love that.
There's that. But Dave is like a next level kind of coach, and then there's other tiers of. Do you find that too, Bobby, that, throughout your career path, you find coaches that are more suitable for beginners or intermediates and then those that are next level kind of coaches?
Not only that, but genres as well. It's like, we both do quite a few different genres, and I don't use the same coach for narration as I do for commercial or, imaging or whatever it happens to be. It's because you connect with somebody on that particular genre, and if you're feeling it and then it shows in your auditions and then you book, it's like, wait a minute, this worked. So, there's different reasons for different coaches.
Yeah. And we'll start talking about, 2022 and our budgets for the coming year. And I'm definitely going to...
Budget? What's a budget?
Exactly. But we got to do it.
I know.
We got to do it as voice actors. I didn't spend as much in 2021 on training as I should have. I did some things here and there, but I'm really going to up the budget in 2022 as things get closer to normal.
I was just talking to our friend Rob Reed last week. He said he was working on...
Hey, Kevin, it's Rob Reed. How are you, brother?
That is so
Shout
good.
out, Rob. Shout out, Rob.
A little bit deeper, but it's so good.
Yeah, I can't. If you would have got me about like 7 or 8 hours ago, right when I'm waking up,
That's
maybe.
Hilarious. Yes, he has quite the pipes.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was saying...
But you were chatting with Rob.
Yeah, and he said that he was working on his 2022 budget, and he was looking at, and there's different comparison tools. I know I use VoiceOver View. They have it, and QuickBooks also has it, where you can see where you were booking the most and what may have dropped by a certain percentage. And you lay that all out for your next year on what you need to work on, and Or if you did really well, it's like, wait a minute, this was a strength of mine, so maybe I need to put more time into that. So it's not just the money budgeting, it's overall, planning, I guess would be the best word for 2022.
Yeah, and that's a good way to think about it strategically. It's like the thing I just got for the PSA, that is an area or genre or style that I've booked, a handful of times in the last year, and that is just like a dialogue guy, in the moment guy, imaginary scene kind of guy, because that was obviously a basketball thing. And I've done other stuff where I've been in the kitchen cooking, or I've, done other stuff where it's more dialogue related. And I like that kind of stuff, and stuff that lends towards that is like improv coaching, the real next door neighbor read for commercial and in different areas. So that's what I was talking about, like different styles and genres that you can attack.
Oh, yeah.
And try to improve upon.
Definitely.
A penny for your thoughts.
Did you see anything that you did in 21, Bobby, or did you have any notice anything and go, wow, I booked a handful of things in that area and it's kind of surprising, or you kind of expected that?
Well, I think what stood out for me the most was the crime narration. I mean, I had done 2 series the previous years, I think 18 and 19, but or 19 and 20. But in 2021, I did a bunch of series and then got the promo job with True Crime Network. And I'm thinking, well, have I been neglecting this? I mean, my voice as I get older is deepening. So it's like, am I more suitable now for documentary or in-show narration? And so I've been auditioning for those more through my agents and the pay-to-plays. And I'm going to concentrate on that a lot in 2022 because I think it might be a good niche.
I think so too for you. niche, I don't know.
I always say it wrong.
But Bobby, I don't really consider your voice deep. It's kind of deep, I guess, but to me it's right there in the middle, but it has just this inherent warmth to it too. And I don't know how that translates to the crime narration. That is more than likely all performance based. And I know it's a passion for you too, because you've always wanted to work in that area. And now you're there, and I think you're thriving. And I think it's just coming through naturally.
Oh, thank you. I always record my crime in the morning, by the way, as early as possible.
That's so funny.
Because
That's
Brenda
so funny.
Vaccaro gets out of that bed.
Yeah, Brenda. Yeah, we compare Bobby to Brenda Vaccaro when she has her morning voice going. And if you don't know who Brenda Vaccaro is, you need to Google her. She's
Google it, yeah.
Yeah, she's an iconic actor, and she's known for having a pretty deep and raspy voice.
So what about you?
Well, that's
what
great.
did you notice for 2021? Any standouts?
Well, that was it, and I think that's why in 2022 I'm going to start training. Do a little more improv training, and a little more of that regular next door neighbor guy, commercial work training, because I'm getting some footing in that, and I don't know why it is, but I seem to book that more than a normal just announcer kind of read. And I say announcer loosely because they always say, we don't want an announcer. But I seem to do better when it's dialogue related, and I've got somebody to bounce off of, or I can do a little more improv, because I don't know what it is, but that when I've got actual dialogue to say, that puts me more in an acting frame of mind. Mm-hmm. Whereas reading a script where there's no dialogue, no interaction, my muscle memory goes to announcer, even as hard as I fight it,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So whenever I see a full script where it's just VO and there's no like Steve, or Dan, character names or whatever, I tend to default to that. And I do make it as conversational as I can, and I do book and all that. But there's something about seeing the dialogue on the page and the interaction, and I'm hearing the reaction to my fellow actor in my head. I'm like, okay, I can play off that, and I don't know, it just works for me better.
Well, listen to your voice. What we just heard, your voice is naturally, and radio helped this, very professional. It's very. Your articulation, your enunciation is perfect. And when you get those scripts, and I've seen you do this, I've been right there with you, your voice kind of goes a different pitch sometimes. You might chop off the ending of your word, and it's just what is that everyday voice. And those are all the tips of it, and that's a whole other thing. I mean, Mary Lynn Wissner is really good about taking the announcer out of you. But, I mean, I was just listening to your voice going, that's Kevin the announcer. Mm-hmm. And then when you've had a couple drinks, you become that Arkansas.
So you're saying I should do voiceover hammered. Not a good tip. Not a good tip. Worst tip of the day. Thank you, Bobby.
Oh, my goodness.
That's so funny.
But when we were getting back to the marketing or the awards thing, a lot of people coming into the business don't realize, and they'll ask, it's like, who nominated you? And almost all the award shows out there, it's either nominated by the producer or the director or the voice talent themselves. You submit yourself.
Yeah.
And that's just that's the way it works. People, I remember when I first found out that like the Oscars and the Emmys are like that. It's like, what? They nominate themselves, or their agent, or not,
or
their
their
agent,
people.
Their people, yeah.
Their handlers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is funny, and it's like, oh, well, yeah, and the Oscars and those kinds of awards, they go as far as like they campaign hard for specific people to win. Like the managers and agents and all those will, send letters and different things to, the associations to, try to win favor and like for their guy, for who they represent, or their gal who they represent. And so there's a lot of campaigning that goes on for those to win Oscars and such.
I was shocked last year. It was my first full year as a SAG member. How many DVDs I got for the nominees for the SAGs. I mean, they just kept coming in the mail, the movies, there were TV series in there. It's like, this is really cool.
This is some cool swag.
I know, I love it. But yeah, you're right.
Gosh.
They do campaign very hard for those. And it's all a marketing thing. I mean, it really is. It's just getting the buzz out there about what you can do and what you have done.
Yeah, and that's the same with SOVAS. It's just, it doesn't change anything other than, there's a little buzz, a little halo, a little marketing that you can do. And, you can send out just a note to whoever and say, hey, I was lucky enough to win this award for this kind of spot. And I may take advantage of that. Hey, I won an award for this kind of read, and here's what I won. And, if you have anything coming up that you'd consider me for, I appreciate it,
Right.
Skip-it-a-ba-ba-ba.
Let's reflect on 21 a little bit, Bobby. Like, what did you notice about 2021, maybe compared to 2020? Or, anything stand out over 2021 to you?
The biggest thing was the lack of automotive.
Yeah.
Definitely. I was just talking to my husband about this yesterday. I was telling him what I had made in 2021 compared to 2020, and I said, I'm off.
Do you want to share that with us right now, by the way?
Yeah, all right.
You want to share that with the crowd?
I haven't had a few drinks.
Do we need somebody to wheel in the wheelbarrow full of cash, Bobby?
No, it was off.
It was something like this.
Yeah, exactly. But automotive, it was just down, and it wasn't just because of COVID. It was because of the lack of chips. And
the chips.
Yeah, and hopefully that will, we've talked about this before. Hopefully that's going to change soon, for 2022. But yeah, it hit me. It hit me in the pocketbook, and so did political, because it was not a good political advertising year. And that'll come back in 2022.
Yeah, I was going to say 2022 will rebound for political. I'm hoping the same for automotive. And just to recap the whole chip thing, all these cars that we're driving nowadays have a computer chip. Well, all these computer chips had been manufactured, but a good majority of them were bought up. and they weren't able to manufacture anymore because of shutdowns and plants and operations and all this kind of stuff. So there was chip shortages for manufacturers. They couldn't get the chips in the cars. So manufacturing had to slow down. And so that trickles down to the advertising area. And yeah, I took a pretty big hit in 21 also with regards to automotive. They, bless the advertisers and the agencies for trying as hard as they could to keep messages going. 2021, you probably heard ad nauseum that now is the best time ever to trade in your vehicle, and it was true.
So true.
These dealers were scrambling to get in trade-ins, and they were, I'm just like quoting stuff I've been saying all year, they'll pay you top dollar, $500 or $1,000 more than any other dealer for your trade.
There's never been a better time.
There's never been a better time to trade in your vehicle, and that is still true. If you can find a new vehicle, I'd say it's a pretty decent time to buy a new vehicle, although you're not going to get any discounts I can't see. But if you can find a new vehicle that you want, I'd say it's better than buying a used vehicle because the used vehicle prices are high right now.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? That transfers also over to another genre, Kev. I was doing real estate video tours, and they don't need them now.
Oh, because, everybody's buying real estate.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, and they don't need to sink their money. I mean, they were usually like multi-million-dollar homes where they had the budget to make a video. But I didn't see any of that in 2021 because it was unnecessary.
Yeah, exactly. The real estate market is on fire right now, and it's I don't know. I don't see any signs of it slowing down. There might be. I think I read something where it may dip a little bit here in the winter months, but then when things start warming up again, the market will heat up again. But yeah, the real estate market's insane right now too.
Oh yeah, and I'm very interested to see with the Omicron. Is that how you say it?
Omicron
variant now. If Omicron if that will start seeing more medical messages too, like when COVID first started, because the winter months we're all inside and the super spreader events and stuff like that, the holidays. if we'll start to see more healthcare auditions at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it very well could happen. Very well could happen.
I hope so. That's a big genre for me.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to 2022.
I mean, I don't
Bobby!
hope anybody gets sick. I'm just saying. That sounds terrible.
Don't get vaccinated. It helps Bobby's bottom line.
Awful.
That's all she's trying to say. Don't get vaccinated.
Can we go to a different subject? That's just terrible.
No, and everybody that knows Bobby, and I think you as a listener know Bobby well enough to know that she's one of the kindest people on the planet and would never wish ill on anyone for her own monetary gain.
Thanks, Kev.
And I mean it.
Because my bottom line was off.
Whatever it takes, Bobby. No, I'm thinking about 2022. I'm thinking about some new demo work. I'm considering getting a new political demo produced because I would like to.
You should.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of political stuff here and there, but I've never tried. And I think that's a genre I want to try to get into some because of it lines up with my philosophy of getting those regular sources of income coming in as much as you can. And I think, especially every 2 years, every 4 years especially, that's one of the genres. And Bobby, you can speak to the political genre more than I can for sure.
Oh, 2020 was amazing. I mean, when you connect with consultants, you've just like hit a gold mine. If they love you, they really love you because they get a lot of work and they know, especially if you can turn things around pretty quickly, they will come back to you again and again and again. And the nice thing about that is usually the consultants can pay pretty well.
Nice.
Whereas, on pay to play, you might see, we're going to pay you $100 for this political spot. That's not the way it is with the consultants. Mm-hmm. So, it's a great, nice little genre to get involved and start making connections with.
That's Scatworthy.
Bobby, what's your 30-second marketing tip on getting into political voiceover? This is for me and for our listeners.
Well, first off, you're going to need some training and get a good political demo. And nowadays, in 2 years ago, this was different. You don't want to have a demo of any particular party. It's one party or the other.
Okay.
Yeah, that's because when you're marketing it, that's what you're going to do. They don't want to hear somebody from the other party on the demo. That could be an instant turnoff. So
that's good to know.
Choose your party. Yeah, it doesn't have to be what you believe in. It's just what you're good at and the sound that they're going for. And then you will find jobs on the pay-to-plays. Not so much with agents. I don't know that I was hired at all in 2020 by any of my agents for political. It was connections with the consultants, word of mouth. I had a couple of people from radio reach out to me who were now running production studios saying, hey, we know you do a voiceover. And then that went to one connection with a consultant, and then it just explodes.
That's great.
So it's like so much marketing. It's just making connections and keeping promises, being good at what you're doing, turn it around fast, and be available.
Yeah.
I went more than 30 seconds. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We'll time compress it, and we'll speed you up.
Hear me. Yeah, when you're marketing it, that's what you're going to do. They don't want to hear somebody from the other party on the demo. It could be an instant turn off. So choose your party. Yeah, it doesn't have to be what you believe in. It's just what you're good at and the sound that they're going for. And then you will find jobs on the pay-to-plays.
No, that's good advice. That's one thing I didn't really know, and it makes sense with regards to political is, you kind of have to pick a side and, let that be your calling card that, hey, I'm good at doing this for this party, and then just have to kind of say no, thank you to the other side, huh?
Right. I don't know. I mean, it sounds strange, but it just makes sense.
Well, there we go.
I don't know what that means.
Well, Bobby, I'm looking forward to a great 2022. We've got some good episodes coming up. As I mentioned, we're going to do the evolution of the announcer in an upcoming podcast. We're going to have more guests on, more agents, more coaches, more fellow voice actors. And 2022 is going to be amazing for the voiceover community.
It really is. Can't wait. And our big secret announcement is coming soon.
Yeah. Our big secret announcement. We'll probably do an entire podcast just on that announcement. We'll just speak really slowly.
Okay. I don't know if that's possible.
It's good talking to you as usual. And I think we're going to get together for get some new headshots done, right?
We are. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Definitely. Well, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well. And I hope you and Steve and the rest of the family and baby Palmer and everybody are safe, happy, and healthy.
Oh, thanks. Oh, by the way, I didn't get to announce that I had a grandbaby since our last podcast.
Oh, my gosh. Yes. Well, let's talk about that really quick.
No, I just wanted to mention are
you going to cry?
I'm a grandma now. No.
You're going to cry?
I do miss her because she's in Nashville. So maybe more trips to Nashville, right?
Yeah. What was it I was watching the other day? Was it Veep? Yeah. Did you ever watch Veep with Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
Just a couple episodes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She plays a jerk, basically. Like she is, total politician and just irreverent and it is the worst case scenario, probably, but the character is hilarious. But her daughter had a daughter, and she was introducing her to somebody, and she goes, "This is my daughter, and this is my daughter's daughter." And she goes, So your granddaughter? No, this is my daughter, and that's my daughter's daughter. I'm not a grandmother. This is my daughter's daughter.
I love it. I want to watch that now.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and I'm pretty sure that was either way, it was just a funny female character, but anyway, but I know you're not like that at all, obviously. Well, thanks, and I hope you have a good rest of the day, and Happy New Year, and we will be talking to you on the other side.
Thanks, Kev, you too. And congratulations on your SOVAS.
Thank you.
The Middle Class VO Podcast is a K2 Media Productions production.
All views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts and guests. The McVop jingle was written and produced by Kevin.
Co produced and performed by Chloe Dolandis.
Additional engineering by Zach Zimmett.
Bobby's hair and makeup by Rebecca Adlita.
Kevin's wardrobe by Slippery Pete's Fashion Emporium.
All previous episodes are available for download on Podbean.
For the Middle Class VO podcast, I'm Tracy Thibodeau.
I'm Lisa Lou Perry.
Thanks for listening.
And don't miss the next episode of
The Middle Class VO Podcast. The Middle Class VO Podcast.